Hello and welcome everyone. My name is John Lovato, and this is going to be the Masterclass on how to have enough time in the day to train and build camaraderie without running your crew ragged or forgetting what's most important. Uh, we all have a lot of distractions going on, so it's really easy to fall to the common pitfalls of not having enough time. So this is a course based on the company officer logbook, which is you're purchased it, you're obviously interested in leveling up your leadership and trying to focus on getting the right stuff done, but yet still building that team that you want. So what's the purpose of this masterclass? Well, it's going to help you stay organized. It's going to help you be a better leader, track your crew's performance, and remember all the crazy encounters throughout your career. Uh, Especially that last one. You know, a lot of times guys put in their years of service and they wish they would have kept notes throughout the years. Well, this is actually going to help you do all that. We'll cover that a little bit later. So what we're actually going to cover is going to be this basically broken up into 6 parts. The first part is going to be how to use the company officer logbook. Second part is going to be one of the sections about crew performance log. There's also a training tracker, a company officer daily guide if you're looking for different ways to run your day or what you need to be doing. It's going to talk about the monthly brain dump and the daily agenda after action review and the journal feature. So let's get started with part 1, how to use the company officer logbook. I've personally been using this. I'm on my second book now. I used one last year and I just started to use my new one, and it really helps me staying organized with it. So what is the company officer logbook? Basically, traditionally in the fire service, there's always been a logbook at the officer's desk to keep track of calls you go on, different notes that happen, staffing, whatever it may be. Well, throughout technology, those seem to have gone away in most departments. And everything's gone to that online version. Well, the company officer logbook is a version of the logbook, but just for the company officer. So it's like a planner, a logbook, and also a journal all into one. So why you should be using this? Well, it's simple. When you start to write stuff down, you make it happen. So you got to get our brains aren't designed to hold information. It's designed to come up with ideas. You need to write the stuff down, and then it's off your head, and then you can work on accomplishing it. And when you actually start to put down on paper what you do that day or want to do that day, you can tell that if it's a lot or a little bit. A lot of times we easily get distracted with unimportant and non-urgent items. Well, this book is going to help you stay on track. So part 2 is going to be the crew performance log. And some of you, maybe your departments use this, maybe they don't. We have it in our yearly evals, but they're rarely used due to the design of it. So what I did is I've included up to 10 crew performance logs in each book to help you keep track of the good, what needs improvement, and the important features of each of your crew members. So it's divided up into a T-chart. As you can see, one column has accomplishments and the other column has needs improvements. Accomplishments, whatever you catch your people doing good. Anytime you catch them doing something good, let them know, because they're most likely going to repeat it. People like to be praised. Your needs improvement, these are areas that maybe you had to address with them. Hey, make sure you're wearing all your gear, make sure you're here on time. I like it when you grab this tool. Whatever the case may be, these are areas where maybe it took a discussion. But the important part is anything you're really writing down in the needs improvement, make sure you told them and you're not just keeping it to yourself. I've seen leaders do that, and then the person's surprised when they go over stuff. It's just to keep a visual reminder of it. Hey, is it every shift you got to remind this guy this or not? Biggest thing to remember with accomplishments and your needs improvements area is make sure the accomplishments completely outweigh the needs improvement. It's really easy to start focusing on what people have done wrong or need improvement on than a fact of what they're actually doing good on. You want to build them up a lot. So with this performance log, I also included an area for their birthdays and anniversary. The whole point is get these of each of your crew members. Put them in your phone so you know. Who doesn't like a happy birthday from their boss, and remember their anniversary date. Maybe your department's on the ball if you guys do pins or some type of celebration at their 5, 10, 15, 20, 25-year mark. Maybe they're not. And if you don't have something, maybe you can start it with your crew. But a lot of guys like seniority always seems to be big among the rank and file of being recognized for your years of service. So write it in there, and then however you want to remember it, put it in your phone, whatever, on a calendar, and this way you'll never forget your guys' important dates. The next feature of this is the training tracker. Now there's a lot of software, stuff like Target Solutions people use, and maybe some other things that tracks it, but um, yeah, it records it, but it's hard to look back. You have to do a lot of search queries and items like that. So what I did is, maybe you guys have a software like that, maybe you don't. So with this training tracker, the left-hand column is you either fill in what you want to cover that year, or what you did cover. So what I started seeing is we did a lot of work on just deploying hose lines in our first due area, and didn't hit other areas. What this helps is, each day of the month that you hit whatever your subject you want to cover, you just make a check. And so you can look back and figure out, hey, did we cover this area well, or did we not? Did we do enough search training, or did we not? Um, and it could be, you just writing down everything that's on your engine in that left-hand column, and just making sure you touch on it at least once that year. But what this does is it gives you that feedback to, did we cover enough, not enough, where did we miss, and it can help you stay a little bit more organized in your training. So the next part is actually the Company Officer Daily Guide. Now this daily guide I compiled based on how my daily routine goes at the station. Use it, alter it, whatever you want to do, but especially for a new officer coming in, any of my guys that are working on their acting company officer, we have a task book they do, I give them one of these, because when something is new to you, you're going to miss steps until it becomes a habit. So I gave this to them so they can try to strive to hit all the benchmarks and not end up missing anything. So here's actually a copy of the Company Officer Daily Guide that's included in the Company Officer Logbook, to kind of walk you through the steps. I have it down into what I do in the morning, my goals with training, how my thought process works, what I do throughout the day, and what I do in the evening, and then right at shift change. And once again, maybe you have a system down, that's great, but especially if you're new for it, or you want to maybe see what other people are doing, this is a great guide to help you out. Part 5 is going to be the monthly brain dump. So what's a brain dump? I talked about it a little bit earlier. The brain dump is basically, you set up, get everything out of your head. So any projects you want to do, any trainings, whatever it may be, you just write everything down. And once it's out of your head, then you don't have to think about it anymore, because you know where you can look back on it. It actually decreases anxiety and gets rid of that whole scatterbrain that a lot of people have. So here is actually a copy of the monthly brain dump. There's one for each month, and the left-hand column, you just write everything down that you either have to do, that was been issued by your admin, your battalion chiefs, maybe what your crew wants to work on, whatever it is, write it all down. Now, once you have that left column filled in with everything you want, there's a little section that, next to it, and that's for you to put a number. So what's this number? Well, number 1 is going to be your non-negotiable. Means this has to happen. For me, what has to happen every shift is some type of training, and maybe the daily duties. This has to happen. Something that's issued down with a time date, that has to happen. Still important. Some examples of that would maybe be, maybe some extra training you wanted to do, some other projects that aren't a high priority for you. And then the last part is your not urgent, your 3s. Whatever is, well, this would be nice, but it's not a pressing moment, however it may be. And I actually explain each of these a little bit more thorough in the Company Officer Logbook to give you a better idea of it. So once you have them all labeled up, you're going to take your 1s and you're going to put 1 to 3 number 1s on each duty day that you work. And once that's filled in, that's all you worry about is the number ones. And if you have time, you can fill in with the twos and the threes. And when we actually get to the daily agenda guide, you can see where you can put in those twos and threes. But the point is, concentrate on those number ones, because those number ones are just what's going to move you forward and is actually going to get you the results that you want to see. So once you have that all filled in, you can actually transfer that work to your daily agendas. And this takes a little bit of work at the beginning of the month, but then it really sets you on cruise control the rest of the time. So part 6 is going to be your daily agenda, after action review, and your journal. Here's actually a screenshot of it. If you can notice, my non-negotiables are up top, and I put training in there right off the bat. That's what I want to work on, is always do some type of training. I got 3 spots in there, and those are things that got to get done that day. And then underneath is kind of like, what did we also do that day that maybe wasn't planned, or those are the, your twos and threes you put in. And if you get to them, great. There's a section to the right if you want to keep track of time, when you did something, or certain calls happen, whatever it may be. And then down below, I put a little section that you can kind of do a little after action review of the day to see how it went, how you could do a little bit better. And if you want, you can score it. And it's more specific, actually, if you get the book. It talks about house scoring. And if you like keeping track of your call volume, you can always put it in there too. Your right side is actually the journal part of it, and that's whatever you want. I actually put in, who's on what unit, and, just any thoughts of the day that I want to write down. So if I ever want to look back, 2, 3, 5, 10 years from now, it kind of refreshes my memory and creates those past memories. And that was kind of the point of this is, this is also your journal from your career that you can look back on and remember all the exciting things that actually happened. So this is just a quick, training over this. The biggest thing is start using the logbook right away. Don't put it off. The sooner you start using it, the sooner you can start getting more organized. And what you're going to find is as you use it, it's going to evolve your organizational skills, and it's just going to get better. But everything takes repetition. The one thing I learned that helped me accomplish everything I work on is I just write everything down. I get it out of my head, and then I prioritize it and start with the high priority items. And that's one of the main ways. I wrote the book while still taking care of a baby, and you really find the time when you start writing stuff down. So I hope this training was good, and if you haven't already gotten the Company Officer Logbook, get yourself a copy, and this is really going to help you out. All right, take care.